What's up, For Honor brothers and sisters? So in this one, we're talking revenge. The revenge system, we need an update. It needs to be changed. It needs to be looked at. All right. And I know the funding is not there for Honor. That's why we haven't had any new maps. So I get that. But there needs to be some changes. And I have some low budget ideas that I think would make revenge a little bit better, a little bit more tolerable. Now, we know that they have a revenge tutorial that you can go and use, and that's helpful as far as understanding the basics of how to get revenge. It doesn't really go into depth on tags, and I'm not going to go into depth here. I don't want to focus on that. We've seen the revenge tutorial. If you've done any of the tutorials, you know it's there. So you know, you've seen it, you know how to use it. So what my focus is on is within the gameplay and how people are using revenge to their advantages. And I'm talking about people that get revenge and hold it, as well as people that sit on the side and try not to let you feed revenge. You know, and that's the core problem that I feel like needs to be addressed with revenge. And I got an idea of how to address both sides. So you guys know, and you've been in those situations, I'm sure, where you have people feeding revenge. It's either your teammates feeding revenge, or you can see people on the opposing team, how they feed revenge. You guys know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying as far as feeding revenge. And if you're actually looking for, let's say, the revenge tag information, I do have it in this video. You can go to the Honor Wiki if you want to understand how those revenge tags work and how they build up and how you have to be in like an outnumbered situation in order to get tags, et cetera, because I'm not going to cover that here. But it's here. You can pause the video. You can look at it because I want to make sure I included it here for you to see. But the main focus is on what is painful, and that's when we're actually playing the game. So when we're playing the game, you got opponents that feed revenge, and I have these bots here that I was working with just to show you this is just normal feeding revenge, no big deal. We all deal with that. We've all seen it, right? But outside of that, we have the smart players, and this is what I want to talk about. For Honor players are getting more intelligent. They are getting smarter. And yes, we have new players that are still going to feed revenge when you're like, don't hit him, oh! And then they end up hitting them and they feed them revenge and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you just run away and let them get killed. Because I know y'all do it. I know y'all do it out of frustration. But we need to be better than that. We need to be better than that. And here's an idea that I have because, well, I don't want to go into it quite yet. But you have these people that are just going to sit there and not feed revenge because they see it building, right? They'll get a couple tags, and next thing you know, they won't hit you because they know after like 5 seconds it's going to reset, and you're not going to be outnumbered, and there's not going to be any more tags. So players are getting smarter. So something needs to be done about that. If players are getting smarter, we got to adjust the gameplay a little bit. And I feel like one of the ways we can adjust the gameplay to make it better is to make sure the opposing team cannot see when you're building revenge. So I do not want the opposing team, you guys understand what I'm saying, to see that yellow going around. They shouldn't be able to see it. Now you, as if you're the offensive player, you should be able to see it, but your opponent should not. What do you guys think about that? I think that will help with the people that are just sitting there and making sure they don't feed revenge. And it also will help because now you're talking about players that have to take their intelligence to another level. And maybe when somebody comes in and they want to jump in on a fight, they can't just see that yellow that's going to trigger them and say, oh, I better not hit him or he's going to get revenge. I like that a lot better. At least for me, maybe it's because I thought of it, but I like that a lot better. And I'm really curious what you guys think about that. I think that's a great idea. So you don't have those scenarios when you're defending pretty well. You're trying to stall because we got to remember what revenge is. Revenge is just a stall tool until you can actually get help. So when your team actually comes and help you, then you can actually be okay. And of course, revenge lasts about 9 to 10 seconds. So that gives you time for another teammate to come if you actually trigger it. But a lot of times, especially with really good players, they just sit there and let that little bit of revenge sit there while you get your health gets lowered because, of course, somebody else is hitting you and fighting you. And then when they think, oh, you might get the upper hand, then they might hit you, of course, and you're not going to get revenge. Or you get something that pins you, like Majai when he grabs you or something like that. You know what I mean? So I really do think that will help. And another thing on top of that is, you know how a lot of people will just hold revenge? if they get revenge, they won't even pop it, especially if they have a lot of health. They just sit there and hold it. I can't stand. I don't like that. And I do it too, because we can. It's a mechanic in the game, something in the game. We can use it. So I use it. So I feel you on that. However, I think we need to get rid of that too. I think if you're not outnumbered for more than 10 seconds, which is the length of revenge, because as soon as you get revenge, I think that 10 seconds should start. And if you do not pop that revenge within that 10 seconds, you lose it if you're not outnumbered. So basically, if you get revenge, you start glowing, but you don't pop it or whatever. And then you have like one of the teammates run away, right? So now you're in a 1v1 because they don't really want to engage. Then you have 10 seconds from that point, because now you're in a 1v1, to pop that revenge. What do you guys think of that? I think that's a couple things that I would like to see done, some changes that could be made that would actually make revenge better. I would love to see that implemented. If you guys have better ideas, I would definitely love to hear them, because I'm sure some of you got some great ideas for revenge. But something needs to be done. We need some changes, because players are getting smarter, and I think it's time to adjust. And those are some low budget ideas that they don't have to do any crazy rework for that to work, in my opinion. It's just taking a visual away on one side, and then of course doing the 10 seconds when you're not outnumbered on the other side, if you're that person that actually has revenge. But that's all I got for this one. I'll catch y'all on the next one, and I just want to say thank you. You could have tuned into other videos, and you probably will, but you did click on this one, and that's what matters to me. Appreciate y'all. Till next time, peace.